Hi, I'm roasting guest, author of Built to Grow, and welcome to your Built to Grow bite-sized series. Got a great opportunity to work from home today, so what I thought was I'd take a couple of minutes in between conference calls to record for you session 3, which is focused on inspirational leadership. So to get us started, wherever you see a high-performing organisation, one of the single most competitive advantages is their ability to nurture, grow and develop leadership competition faster than the competition. Your future business success depends on it. And there's enough empirical evidence out there to demonstrate the importance of leadership in terms of why people leave organisations. One of the top 3 reasons being a clash or a misalignment in values with their line leader. So it's not just about leadership at the top of the organisation, it's about how we build leadership bench strength at every single level of the organisation. And that requires a different level of thinking. And there's 2 models that we can follow. One is the leader follower, which is the traditional model from the past, where you have a charismatic leader at the top. And the challenge with that model is probably self-explanatory. That if the business success depends upon one key charismatic leader at the top, when they're not in the business, when they go on holiday, or when they're not driving the agenda, then the business just doesn't move at the same pace it ordinarily would do. So what's the solution? The solution is the adoption of what I call the leader follower, or the leader model. And the leader is where we build leadership capability at every single level in the organisation. And we have 4 key levels. There's leaders of the organisation at the top, there's leaders of leaders, there's leaders of people, and then there's leaders of self. And it's how we get everybody in the organisation to adopt a leadership mentality, a leadership way of thinking. And actually, from a cultural perspective, leadership is not about title. It's not about the size of the office. It's not about what you get paid. It's a way of thinking, and it's a way you think about what you do and how you do it every single day. I always remember going with Jay and my wife to New York. We went for New Year. And in New York, you can do one of 2 bus tours. You can either do the red bus tour or you can do the blue bus tour. You probably already detect a slight Scouse twang in my voice. So yes, originally I was from St Helens on Merseyside. So when we went to New York, I'm definitely the blue side of the city. So there was no way that I was getting on a red bus. I'm definitely an Evertonian. So we did the blue bus tour and we got halfway around New York. And at this one particular bus stop where the bus pulled in, this Japanese family came on the bus. They came to the top deck where we were sitting. And after about a couple of minutes with the host engaging with them, they all stood up, went back down the steps and got off the bus. And when you spoke to the host about why they got off the bus, what transpired was their tickets had expired the day before. And of course we were pulling there and having some fun with the host because it was Christmas, New Year and humbug, why didn't you just let them stay on the bus? And her answer was really insightful. And it was simply this. She talked about the years that she'd spent learning the history of New York. She talked about how many years she'd worked for the organisation, the fact that it cost money to run the bus, for the driver of the bus itself. And her final words were really telling. And it was simply this, that I've spent years learning the history of New York in order to give people the best experience. However, it costs money to run the bus. So therefore, when people come on my bus, they'll get the best experience, but there's no free rides. She really understood that whole philosophy about lead without title, about taking ownership for your life, your actions and your results. So my question for you is, have you got a leader-follower model in your business where there are one or a couple of charismatic people at the top of the organisation? Or are you adopting the leader-leader philosophy, building bench strength, capability where leadership is actually part of your culture and your DNA at every single level in the organisation? In the Built to Grow book, in the chapter on chapter 3, where we focus on inspirational leadership, we also talk about the 7 traits, the 7 key ingredients that make up a high-performing leader. Today, in our bite-sized session, I'm just going to share one which for me is authenticity. And authenticity is the most important one for me, which is in life about being the real deal. And if you think about it for a moment, trust is generally broken across the marketplace. Trust in our banks and our financial institutions with all the problems over the last few years, even governments with expensive scandals and going bust. So trust is not prevalent, and you earn trust through what you do, nobody's got a God-given right to it. So at the heart of the inspirational leader, building trust with your people is that thread of authenticity that runs through you where you are the real deal. And as we come to the end of this session 3 bite-sized session, there's a poem I'd like to leave you with which really thinks about where are you on your journey as an inspirational leader? Where are you on your journey as an authentic leader? And the poem goes like this. It's called Man in the Glass. And man is a generic term for both male and female in the context of the poem that I'm going to share with you. And the poem goes like this. When you get what you want and you struggle for life and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what the man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fella whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. You may be like Jack Horner and pull out a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. He's a fella to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous, difficult test if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. What does your mirror tell you? As always with the Built to Grow Bite-Size series, from today's session, from today's focus on inspirational leadership, what's your one key insight? What's your one key gem? What's your one key relearn? The one key thing that you're taking away from the session that will help you to be a better leader and help you to really set your organisation for success with leadership and bench strength at every single level. From me, Royston Guest, the author of Built to Grow and the creator of the Built to Grow Bite-Size series, goodbye for now.